Good evening, everyone. I'm Trace Gallagher. It's 11 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 o'clock here in Los Angeles, and this is America's Late News, Fox News at Night. And breaking tonight, a police union boss in Los Angeles is telling police officers they are better off working somewhere else. The statement comes as crime continues to rise and respect for law enforcement continues to fall. From the dangerous drivers terrorizing cities with Fast and Furious style sideshows to officers being taunted by the communities they seek to serve. Criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj is here with how new laws are emboldening criminals, but we begin with Matt Finn. He's live with the very latest on the police union boss giving cops advice on leaving the city. Matt, good evening.
Good evening, Trace. A short while ago, I spoke with that LA police union boss who wrote the controversial comment on Facebook. Joretta Sandoz tells me she stands by her comment, explaining that she was offering advice to any LAPD officer who might want to leave the department for better benefits or leave a city that recently has not been supporting police.
I don't regret the comment because when officers go to, or even think about going to a new agency, they put a lot of time and work into it. And what I was trying to do is ensure that they went to an agency that pays them well, that values them, that respects the work that they do, that has a great pension.
Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and federal litigator Vikas Bajaj. Vic, it's always great to have you on here. The Newsweek wrote the following on here about losing police officers. Put this on the screen, quoting here, the initial hope was that this would be a passing wave, but morale continues to be low, and the desire to join the profession is nowhere to be found. It is no longer a passing wave. It is more like a tsunami with all its disastrous consequences. And, you know, we're seeing this play out. The consequences are more and more in these cities becoming disastrous.
You hit the nail on the head. And why do people become law enforcement officers, Trace? It's because many times it's a legacy position. Grandfather, father, mother, aunt, uncle was a police officer, and we do what the generations before did and did well. But now it's increasingly difficult. You can make $60, $70, maybe $80,000 after a few years being a law enforcement officer, but you're target number one. You have the subject always being virtually recorded, put out there on social media, and all you have to do is read the paper, tune into any of the news stations, and you're going to see law enforcement officers as defendants being prosecuted much more so for the same conduct rather than the defendants. The focus is on the defendants, not the law enforcement officers, and it has to change.
Yeah, they are watching everything you do, but nobody has your back. The Public Policy Institute says the following, quoting here, a slim majority of adults say the police are doing a fair, 39%, or poor, 13% job of controlling crime in their community. I mean, the whole point here is that's 52% that are blaming police. Police aren't making the laws. Vic, they're not the ones that are enforcing the laws.
Well, they're there to enforce the laws, right, Trace? But they're not creating the laws.
Right.
Now, here's the problem. There are bad apples. Unfortunately, the 1% or less than 1% of the law enforcement officers that are doing their job poorly become 100% of the publicity regarding law enforcement officers through social media and through anti-law enforcement outlets. What really needs to happen is imagine where we are now and where we are going to be in 5 years from now when people don't want to really back the blue. There's no money in the purse strings, and we have an unsafe community.
Cal Matters writes the following, quoting here, California Democrats resisted a child trafficking bill until they couldn't, going on to say, quote, some progressive lawmakers have opposed toughening penalties for sex trafficking because they were persuaded that it would contribute to the over-incarceration of black people. And what they're saying was they lost this. They had to acquiesce eventually, Vic, but what they were saying is it's racist to punish sex traffickers. I mean, it got to the absurd point.
It is absurd. And what lens are you putting on? Sometimes in front of a jury, we ask them to put on a lens to look for beyond a reasonable doubt, presumption of innocence. But if you put on the glasses and your lens is racially defined, and you define criminals or defendants as black, white, Hispanic, East Indian, Caucasian, well, then that's the wrong way to do it. You need to look at the crime. Do not protect the defendant, protect the victim, and enforce the law. Who cannot stand behind making it a serious felony to sexually traffic young children? It's beyond absurd.
It is beyond absurd. Vikas Bajaj, great to have you on. We'll see you a bit later.
Thank you, Trace.